Ever wonder why your confidence as an athlete can feel so fragile? You know, why it's sky high 1 minute and then just completely gone the next? Well, the foundation of your self-belief, it wasn't built on the field or the court or the track. Nope, it was built way before that, back in your childhood. Okay, let's really get into this. We've all been there, right? You're in the zone, playing great, feeling totally unstoppable, and then you make one little mistake. And just like that, poof, the feeling is gone. Self-doubt starts creeping in, your body gets tight, and suddenly you're just playing not to lose instead of playing to win. It is one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. But what if I told you that whole reaction has almost nothing to do with that one mistake? That's right. The real root of that mid-game collapse, that sudden vanishing act your confidence pulls, is buried deep in your past. See, the experiences and all the messages you took in as a kid, they created a kind of blueprint for how you react to pressure and adversity today. So let's call this thing your athletic blueprint. Just think of it like the invisible architecture of your mind, right? It's the foundational structure that dictates your automatic thoughts, your emotional gut reactions, and your core beliefs about what you're capable of, especially when the pressure is on. And here's the thing. This blueprint, you didn't design it consciously. It was built for you, piece by the world you grew up in. You know, a coach who praised how hard you worked over whether you won. A parent who was maybe hypercritical of every little mistake. Teammates who either lifted you up or tore you down. Every single one of those messages became a brick in the foundation of who you are as an athlete. To really see how this plays out in the real world, let's just take a look at two world-class athletes. Both of them reached the absolute pinnacle of their sports, but they were built from two totally different childhood blueprints. So on one hand, you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, whose confidence seems like it was forged in fire, literally built from overcoming incredible hardship. And then on the other hand, you have Naomi Osaka, whose quiet, focused confidence was so carefully nurtured in this really structured, supportive environment. Two completely different paths, but both led to greatness. I mean, just look at Ronaldo's story. At only 12 years old, he left his family behind to chase his dream. Can you imagine being that young, all alone, facing that kind of pressure and loneliness? That early struggle, it didn't break him. It forced him to develop this almost unbreakable mental resilience. He learned deep down that he could rely on himself. And that belief, that's exactly what we see on the field today. Now, Naomi Osaka's story is such a powerful contrast. Her blueprint was built on a foundation of consistent structure and just unwavering family support. Her dad meticulously planned out her development, creating an environment full of encouragement. Now, this didn't build that same kind of outward, gritty resilience we see in Ronaldo, but it nurtured a deep, quiet self-belief, a confidence that knew she belonged at the top. So how do these childhood experiences actually turn into the confidence, or the lack of it, that we feel as adults? Well, it all comes down to something psychologists call core beliefs. Okay, so a core belief, think of it like a fundamental truth you hold about yourself and how the world works. You know, things like, I have to be perfect to be valued, or maybe mistakes are just totally unacceptable, or maybe it's something like my effort is what really matters. These aren't just thoughts, you guys. They are the unconscious rules that are running the show. This breaks down exactly how it happens. So look at step one. It all starts with a message. Maybe it's a coach yelling at you after a mistake. You hear that enough, and you move to step two. You start to internalize it. You make it your own. And over time, as you see in step three, it hardens into a core belief. Something like, I'm just not good under pressure. And that leads directly to step four. Years later, you're in a big game, you make one mistake, and that core belief kicks in, triggering that on-field behavior, and your confidence just vanishes. Seriously, just take a second and really think about that. What are the unwritten rules that are secretly dictating your performance? Do you believe you have to be perfect? Are you terrified of letting people down? Just recognizing what these rules are is the first and most crucial step to changing them. Okay, so this might all sound a bit heavy, like it's all set in stone. But here is the most important part of this whole explainer. Your blueprint is not your destiny. Thanks to this amazing thing called neuroplasticity, your brain is remarkably adaptable. You can literally create new neural pathways. You can renovate the whole structure. You are the author of your next chapter. So the really good news is this. Just because your foundation was laid in a certain way doesn't mean you're stuck with it for good. You can consciously choose to build a new, stronger, and much more supportive structure for your confidence. Look, it takes awareness and it definitely takes work, but it is absolutely possible to rewire those old reactions. And here's a simple game plan to get you started. First, acknowledge your story but without judgment. Just understand where your beliefs came from. See it as data, not as a verdict on who you are. Second, identify the specific beliefs that are holding you back. Get really clear on what those old, unwritten rules are. And third, and this is the most powerful step, you actively choose to replace them. For example, if the old rule is, don't mess up, your new chosen message might be, I trust my training and I'm going to play freely. You literally start telling yourself what you needed to hear all those years ago. You know, Usain Bolt just said it perfectly. It doesn't matter if your blueprint was built on some shaky ground. What matters is the work you put in now, the choices you make today, and the athlete you decide to become. Your past is your origin story. It is not your life sentence. So as we close this out, I just want to leave you with this one thought. Your athletic story, it's still being written, and you are holding the pen. You get to decide what happens next. So what's it going to be? What will be the first line of your next chapter?